Hello, everybody. I'm Virginia, and this is Living on the Verge, where I'm paying attention to real life, the fun parts, the messy parts, and what they're all trying to teach me. And this is something a little different. I started a series of conversations with women in business, women in my real life, different ages, different paths, all building something in their own way. And we're just going to talk about it, how they got here, why they chose this path, what surprised them, and what real life actually looks like behind it all. Today, I'm sitting down with Megan Lewis, and she's in a space I don't think we talk about enough, the automotive remarketing world, which
Yes.
is way more complex than it sounds. Welcome, Megan. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me, Virginia.
So, Megan's been in for over a decade and has really seen this industry evolve. And I'm excited to get into what that actually looks like behind the scenes. But first, where I always like to start is how do we know each other, Megan?
You are my sister-in-law's mother-in-law.
You said that way more simple than your mom did.
Really?
Yeah, she said, and because she's married to, and then no, I got that wrong. I'm like, so basically we're family. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, we're
Okay,
family.
got it. So we've known each other for years. I've seen Megan grow into the beautiful lady that she is, and she is essentially family. I said to Lana that we share grandkids. That's what we do,
I love it.
right? So what I'd like to know is where did you grow up? And then tell me a little bit about what life was like for little Megan.
Oh, I grew up in Marietta, California for most of my life. We moved there when I was 5. I had a wonderful childhood. My parents are fantastic people. Um, I am the independent woman I am today because of my parents. So supportive. And I have 2 younger sisters, and while sometimes I'd like to strangle them when I was younger, probably still the same today. They're also awesome. I have a great family. Very blessed. Life for little Megan was fun and chaotic, I guess.
So obviously we've established since you have two younger sisters that you're the oldest sibling, right? Because this is a series on women in different seasons of life, I'd like you to share with the audience what season of life you find yourself in right now.
Motherhood.
You're in the thick
um,
of it, right?
yeah, I have 2 boys that are 3 and 7. So I am lucky to have the experiencing the school age portion of motherhood while also battling in the trenches of toddlerhood. Um, so yeah, the early stages, I mean, like I guess like the middle stages of motherhood, no babies, no diapers. Really glad for that now.
Yeah, that's
But
done.
yeah, oh God, so glad. Um, but yeah, it's awesome. Very active children.
You have beautiful children. You're
Oh,
very
thank you.
blessed. You have a gorgeous family.
Thank you.
Um, and so now let's move on to like who you are and what you do today. Now, you're the vice president of Jake Group Remarketing. And
Mhm.
I'm just going to say it. I feel like it's one of those roles people hear about and go, huh, we don't really fully understand what you do. So, what is it that you actually do? Talk to us.
So I sell cars for dealerships at auctions. Now the auctions that I sell my cars at are dealer to dealer auctions, so no one from the general public can buy vehicles from these auctions.
Got it. And so, when we use the word remarketing, what does that actually look like? Like, what do you do day to day?
I facilitate the sale of their vehicles. So typically what happens, right, is someone's looking for a new car. Most people already have a car, right? So we're going to take the car I already have and I need to trade it in for something new. So that trade in goes to one of 2 places. Either the dealership that you took it to is
Mhm.
going to keep it and do whatever they need to do to fix it, to resell it to someone else, or they're going to send it to an auction for another dealership to purchase. I facilitate the sale when it goes the auction way.
Got it. Okay. And I'm curious, how did you find your way into that industry?
I used to work for Manheim, which is the auction that we sell our cars at. They are the largest auction house in the United States for vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for them. I started working for them when I was 18. Um, as a greeter, I would go there every Thursday and I would stand in the lobby and I would hold a stack of Kelly Black books. So the general public knows it as Kelly Blue Book.
Yes.
Dealers use black books.
Okay.
So I would hand out that week's black book to the dealers as they came into the lobby. And they made me wear this this ugly green blazer. And
Like the
it was
masters?
a it literally, we called it that. They were like, oh, you have to go pick up your master's jacket. So like go to the AGM's office. It was always hanging on the back of his door, all nicely pressed. I'd
I'm
put it
sorry.
on. Actually, the gentleman who hired me then, I still work with, I'm still very close with. He works at a different auction now, but we always joke when we see each other. He goes, I'm going to find that master's jacket for you so you can have it. They don't have greeters anymore. We are past that time.
Yep.
Um, but that's how it started. So I was there for a little while and then I left because I got full time at Best Buy. And then an opportunity opened up again at Manheim in their commercial department dealing with banks and like repossessed cars.
Okay.
Uh, so I started working there full time in, oh gosh, 2 years later. So I'm going to date myself. I think it was 2010,
Okay.
2009, 2010 was when I started working for Manheim. And not too long after I started working for Jake.
Wow.
I
And
bounced around. I did a few different things in the car industry before I started working for Jake Group.
before you settled. Okay.
Mhm.
And so did it feel intentional or did it feel like, okay, this is just growing over time and it just grew on me, so here's where I landed?
I was really good at sales when I worked at Best Buy. Um, I liked talking to people. I found it easy to sell things. And so my uncle happened to work for Manheim at the time, and he said, Megan, it's a better opportunity. Come apply. What do you have to lose? And I was like,
Right.
okay, fine. So I did, and I got the position, and I met a lot of interesting people. I have met um, all kinds of people in the car industry, actually. And I've done different things in the car industry. I've done everything except sell rental cars. Um, I've worked for everyone else, fleet accounts. I've worked in for a dealership. I was a used car manager at a dealership in Ontario. Um, I worked for a wholesaler for a while. I was an internet
Wow.
manager for a used car store. Um, a lot of experience in the car industry, which eventually led me back to the auction, which I like a lot better. I'm not I'm not for car sales
I
to
get
the
that.
public.
Knowing what I know of you, I would agree with that statement. Yes.
It's not for me, but I do enjoy the fast pace of the auction. So
Yeah. And you've been there for over a decade, right?
mhm,
You said
yeah,
2013, which means you've seen a lot of change. Did you realize early on that you wanted to stay in this industry, or did it kind of just choose you by way of your natural growth?
I think it just chose me. I
Yeah.
had I had no intention of working in the car industry. It wasn't even something that I thought about. So I think it just, I don't know, just my path,
It
I
just
guess.
happened, time, right? And
Yeah.
so eventually you moved up in the company and now you are vice president and partner in the company. So what made you choose a leadership role? Like how did you end up, okay, well I'm working at Best Buy and now I own part of this company.
um, I don't know. I was working at Manheim and I knew that I applied to be a manager of the dealer team there and was told that while I was qualified, I was too young. Um, and that just didn't that, that did not sit with me. I'm like, absolutely not. Age has nothing to do with whether or not you can manage someone. I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
I agree.
And I worked for my new manager for about a month and a half, and I was doing his job. I'm like, nope, I'm out of here. I'm gone. So I left, and I was going to start working for Jake, but changed my mind and went to work for a dealership, bounced around for a little bit, and then our paths crossed again. And he said, come to the auction on Thursday. Um, I'll meet you on the block, which is like the auction block. We all sit up there as the cars run through the lane.
Yeah.
And he handed me a list of his cars for the day and said, I'll call you later. And I was like, okay. I got up there, repped the cars, did the offers, sold what needed to be sold, called him. He FaceTimed me actually. And he was sitting on the beach at his river house with a beer and said, welcome to Jake Group. And that's how it started. We started
Wow.
with 75 cars that day. And today we are running over 200 cars a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
So,
essentially it was supposed to happen because it seems like you say your paths kept crossing and
mhm.
regardless it was sounds like it was supposed to happen. And did you have a moment where you thought, "Huh, okay, this isn't just a job. I think I'm building something here."
um, when people started coming up to me and they're like, "Hey, can I run cars with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I would just start walking up to people like, "Oh, do you want to run cars with Chase Group?" I would stand in the lanes when my sale was over and I would watch who was running through, who was there, who wasn't. And I was like, you know what? We can grow this. We can grow
Right.
this. And I just started going to dealerships, walking in, explaining what I do. And they were like, I'm sold. I don't have to deal with the auction. I can just send you a list and you handle everything. I said, that's it. And they were like, let's go. And we've had clients with us that are with us today that have been with us for just as long as I have been with the company.
So you had a vision and you just kind of saw it through and that's why you're here, young lady. This is fantastic. What a good
It,
story.
also, Jake, that man has an eye for people.
Okay. Well, they always say, right, if you want to be successful, surround yourself with greatness.
He's very good at doing that.
Yeah, I think
Not to
if
say
you're
that I'm great.
no, I think you're fantastic. I think you
Oh,
are great. And I'm obviously so does he because you guys are partners. So yes, and it works.
it
Um,
does.
that's a good thing. So I want to talk about how some women are just they just have the entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Mhm,
But I want to get into a little bit about how you also have a home-based business with your mom and your sister. And
mhm.
I want you to tell us a little bit about that business and then tell me what it's like working with your family.
Um, so I do have another business. It's KLM Craft House. We engrave tumblers. That randomly started out of Christmas gifts, actually. I think COVID turned a lot of people into DIYers.
Yep, yep.
And I am not an exception to that rule. Um, we started with epoxy and everyone was doing epoxy tumblers. And my mom was like, we could do that. And I was like, okay, cool. So we just started doing that and making them for friends and family for Christmas. And then people were like, oh, can you do this for this business? And then this. And then we were like, yeah, sure. And Lana decided, I want to buy a laser. Okay. And one turned into two, turned into three, and an Etsy store and a website later. Here we are. So,
Listening to you guys and how that story came about is it's really inspiring for just like the average person to be like, I could do this. All I need is a good idea and a commitment and good work ethic. But what's it like working with your family? I know those two. So tell me what it's like working with your family.
We have our ups and downs. I mean, you have ups and downs with your family when you don't have a business together. Um, there are times where we have hung up on each other during FaceTimes. I have walked out of rooms. But overall, it's a good experience. I enjoy working with them. It's nice to work with people that you can tell off and there's no repercussions.
Right. Well,
No HR meeting.
one of the things about working with your family too is that you're invested in both areas, right? You're invested in making sure that everything's good on the family front because that's mom. Like I still have to like her at the end of the day. And
Yes.
you're also invested in taking care of the business because you don't want it to affect the family part. And so it actually, when it works, can work very well. And I happen to know that it came from a desire to have fellowship at a time when we were also isolated, that it really makes for this is my time where I get to go out and be crafty. And that was something that was very interesting because knowing you, you're very level headed, you're very practical. And it was very surprising as I've gotten to know you to see just how crafty you are too. Like you totally have an artistic side that really you require the use of that muscle. And this business allows you to do that. And it's really, really cool to watch.
Thank you. It's definitely helped relieve stress from Jake Group. Um, Being able to, let it out in a creative, using my creative side. So I do
Yeah.
enjoy doing it. I definitely wouldn't want to give it up.
So getting back to Jake, what's been harder than you expected at that?
Oh, harder than I expected with Jake Group. Um, Dealing with people who, I don't know, trying to keep one side of the business happy, but also the other side. So, there's a fine line between buyers and sellers. Obviously, my sellers are my clients, but you don't have sellers without buyers.
Right.
Um, so, trying to find the balance between the two can be difficult. You don't want to over appease buyers because then you're going to lose your clients. But you also have to keep buyers happy or you don't have any. So
Well,
that's
it's a consumer based business, and therefore you have to keep the consumer happy at the end of the day, or you have no business. So
it's true.
I get the quandary for sure. What do you think has been better than you thought it would be?
The people that I meet, I have met so many different types of people from all different walks of life and all different ages. And people that I still stay in contact with today that I've known that I started working with at Mannheim.
Wow,
So I'd say the people.
that's a
I
really
wasn't
good.
expecting to have the relationships that I have today with people that I work with.
That's pretty great. I mean, that's a good thing to have because not everybody has that, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so give me the real picture. What does a day in the life of Megan actually look like? You get up, you brush your teeth,
Oh,
maybe
every day.
not. Who knows? Tell me what your day
uh,
looks like.
every day, every day is different. I get up in the morning with my kids and get them off to school. And then I come home and it's straight into work, typically, J Group.
Hmm.
You sit down and work with J Group for like, around 9:30 for like an hour or so. And then I get up and because I work from home, I have the luxury of doing house chores while working. And if I didn't do it that way, I don't think my house would be the way that it is. It's not soup. There's, don't get me wrong, don't open some of the cabinets. There's disaster in there, but um, Harvey and I work really hard to keep the house as organized and as clean as we possibly can. And we definitely bounce off of each other because, he works full time and I work full time and am the main person who gets the kids to and from where they need to go. So we split a lot of the house chores, but sometimes I work from my kitchen counter and the sink's right there and I'm looking at the full sink and it's calling my name. So I I do house chores during the day. Um which changes at a moment's notice. Sometimes I will have a lull with Jake Group for like an hour and then I've done laundry or dishes and then all of a sudden it's like everyone needs me at one time. There's a
Mhm.
dumpster fire everywhere and I'm putting fires out. And it changes like that. It's crazy. Um, but it's me. I enjoy it. I
Yeah.
love the chaos. I
Yeah.
thrive in it.
And you have a
Um,
pretty steady, where do you fit in KLM and being a coach?
oh, fitting in KLM is usually here and there.
Okay.
It's usually at night when the kids have gone to bed.
Okay.
And Harvey and I are watching something on TV or he's playing on his computer and I'm like, having to do some KLM stuff. I would like to get to it more, but lately, motherhood and Jake Group have been taking up more of my time.
You're in a really important part of motherhood right now. It's a really super busy time because you have that they really need you dynamic going, but you also have that it's really important that we start to teach them independence. And the only way you can do that is by putting them in things and then they can't get there themselves yet. So, yeah, it's a really important time and I always tip my hat off to the woman who also still says, "You know what? Okay, maybe I have to work. Maybe we work out of necessity. Maybe we work because we want to, and that's my job, but I still need something that makes me feel happy. And when I see that women are trying to do that, especially women in your season of life, you're still a young girl, and if you've already realized how important it is to include self-care or something that fulfills you in your cycle, then it's going to take you far. I want to say this because I think it's really interesting. I've worked in a male dominated space for a long time myself. In fact, my last business was in freight brokerage. I worked in running auto parts. And I was very much in the minority. And you also are in a highly male dominated space. Tell me what that's like for you and how you've navigated it.
Well, it has recently changed. The auto industry, don't get me wrong, is still very male dominated. However, with my experience right now, every single person that I work with, um, aside from clients, all of my clients, I have two. I don't think I know. I have two clients that are women.
Wow.
Um, the rest of them are all men. But the people that I work closely with are all women. The general manager of the auction that I run my cars at is a woman. The dealer services manager at my auction is a woman. My rep is a woman. um, so even the assistant general manager that I work with, she's also a woman. I think I work with maybe two or three males aside from Jake and Corey inside my own company. It's nice to work with women. I enjoy working with men as well. Honestly, I am a very strong female, so sometimes working with other women is not ideal for me. Um, the feeling is mutual.
I can relate.
The feeling is usually mutual. Don't get me wrong, I try, but I only want to give so much before I'm kind of done. Um, so the auto industry was great for me because it's male dominated and I really thrive there. I am a take no bull crap kind of gal and they like it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's necessary. And another one of the through lines that I've uncovered throughout this series is the commonality of tenacity. Like you have to be a tenacious human being in order to be able to believe in yourself in order to forge out on your own. And sometimes that means stepping in spaces that we're just not really necessarily welcome in. And
Hmm.
you just gotta kick the door down and say, sorry, I'm here, deal with it. And
Yes.
I feel like it's served a lot of the women, at least the ones I'm chatting with in this series. Um, so you started at a time where everything kind of shifted from in person to digital, right? How has that affected you? And how has it changed your day to day?
Drastically. So when I started in 2013, I mean even before that. So when I started was 10 years before COVID. Um and we were running everything through the lane. Everything was in person. I was there 3 days a week, just at the Fontana location, and then I was at the Riverside location 1 day a week. Um,
Wow.
walking cars, making sure they were ready to go for the sale, stickering them, everything physically came to the auction. And then COVID happened, and we were shut down for, God, from March. I will never forget the very last sale day, actually. We were shut down from March 17th until September.
Wow.
Um, and in September, it was just online sales. It wasn't even like an actual auction. That was really slow to start. The auction that I run at has 15 lanes. And when we finally came back about, oh gosh, it was like 6 or 7 months after COVID, they had, we had a team of 20 people before COVID. And when we came back, there were three of us.
Wow.
They brought people, people came back in trickles. The lanes slowly opened up. It was weird. Everything was digital. Nothing came to the auction. And it was like that for years. Actually, we are still digital, Jake Group. I don't believe in fixing things that are not broken.
I was gonna
Um,
say it's working for you.
however, it is. There are a lot of people who've gone back to the physically running through the lane. The other auctions in this area have gone back to physical sales. Our auction has gone back to physical sales, but you know, the digital world works for us. It changed everything. It moved, we had a 5 year plan, and it brought that 5 year plan from 2025 to 2020. And we had to figure out how this was going to work. What does this look like? We went from printing things to everything being digital. It was a rough first 18 months, I'm not
I
gonna
can't even
lie.
imagine. I can't even
But then
imagine.
we saw something that we had never seen before. And 2022, we were selling cars at auctions for retail value, which no one had ever seen. People were like, I've been in the industry for 30 years and I've never seen this. It was wild.
That was wild. That was a
It
wild
was
time. I
crazy.
remember we were going to buy a new car and they were charging sticker plus. It was always sticker plus, whatever. And I was mind blown because I'm like a haggler. So I went in like, what do you mean I don't get to haggle? Oh no, not only
Mhm.
do you not get to haggle, but we're charging you this plus this. And yeah, used car sales were through the roof. It was crazy.
It was insane.
That's wild. So that obviously that showed that you guys had the fortitude to survive, right? And like you
Mhm.
said, you had to pivot and come up with the plan that really kind of you weren't maybe ready for, but it sounds like it served you guys well and actually sped up your growth in
It did.
in a matter of speaking, right? That's
Yeah.
wild.
Hmm.
Entrepreneurship is so glamorous sounding, right? Even the word sounds fancy, but I want you to tell my listeners what part of the work people don't see.
uh, the struggle to motivate yourself to get things done. There is no, you know, there's no one who's sitting you down and saying, hey, these are your goals for this month. These are the things that you need to get done, right? There's no scorecard that you're given by someone. You are your own scorecard. You have to set your goals. You
Mhm.
hold yourself accountable. So You can sit down and say, I want to have all of these things done, but you have to motivate that because there is no manager who's going to sit you down and say, you know what, you didn't do what we talked about. So now you're on an action plan. And then you really have a fire lit up, right? Because you're like, oh, I got to get all these things done. There's no one doing that. It's your responsibility. And if you are not a person who can easily motivate yourself, then entrepreneurship isn't for you. You
I
also have
agree.
to be okay with failure because just because you know someone who tried once and it worked doesn't mean that's going to be you. There are plenty of entrepreneurs out there who tried more than once to start a business and it didn't work. And
That's
then, you
true.
know, they had that one great idea that took them where they wanted to go. But just because you failed once or twice or even three times doesn't mean that you aren't going to be successful. You have to keep pushing yourself and, you know, focus as well.
And discipline is a big part of it. You just alluded to that. So I'm curious, how has being in this world and the fact that, you evolved from an employee to an owner, and now there is definitely a sense of ownership, ha ha ha. But how has being in that world changed you? You've had to become a different version of yourself in order to do this, or do you feel like you're pretty consistent in who you are?
I think I'm pretty consistent in who I am. I think I've always been a strong willed, independent, I'm going to do what I want to do person. And if you tell me that I cannot do something, damn it, I'm going to do it.
Yep, yep.
I mean, my dad did it recently. Told me I couldn't drive an RV to the river. And I went, watch me,
See,
watch
that's what he gets.
me.
So let's lighten it up a little. What do you do outside of work? How do you unplug, Megan?
Gosh. Well, I do frequent Disneyland, as you know.
I
Um,
do.
I actually was there this Wednesday. I got to go with just my boys, just me and my kids.
Oh, fun.
Um, yeah, we had a really good time. Well, my youngest was upset because Mickey, he calls it Goofy's train. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was broken. He was
Oh,
upset. So then he
it's
was
a
like,
good
let's
one
do
though. We
Small
always
World.
do that one.
It's his favorite. And then he was like, let's do Small World. And we got in line and I was like, no, this is broke. So I was like, I'm done. Want to go have dinner? We're going home. And this morning he says to me, Mom, we go Disneyland, the rides are fixed. It's like, well, they weren't like indefinitely broken, but sure.
He had a
So I take
premonition. It's fine.
he did Disneyland with my kids. We go to Parker to go to the river every now and then. That's nice to unplug. But mainly like around here, I would say, um, doing our my book club meeting with Amy and Bianca. I
That's fun.
enjoy.
That's your let your hair down moment.
Yeah, is my book club because it's we talk about books, but we also talk about kids and husbands and sisters.
Uh-huh. All the
All
things.
the yes, all the things. The tea is definitely spilt at the book club dinner meeting. That's for
Oh, so
sure.
that's the invitation that I need to get. Okay, I see where this is going. What's next for Megan?
Ooh. Um. Right now, I am getting a little more involved in my older son's Cub Scouts pack. So I've taken over a small responsibility there. So I'm being more involved in that. And I have been thinking about going down the road of like doing my live scan and becoming like potentially becoming a Cub Scouts leader. So
Wow.
yeah, we'll see.
Who'd have
It's a big
thunk
commitment.
it?
I know,
You're
right?
purposely surrounding yourself with a bunch of children.
I know. And I just started coaching my youngest soccer team, which was unintentional, let me tell you. Um, I showed up to the first game in a maxi dress and flip flops. And the coach says, "Oh, are you Megan?" And I was like, "Mm-hmm." She goes, "Oh, you're the other coach. We missed you at the coaches meeting yesterday." And I was like, "No, mm-mm. I signed up to coach my other son's team, but he's not playing because he broke his wrist. I didn't sign up for this." And she goes, "Yeah, you did." So I coached the game barefoot in a maxi dress for 3-year-olds. It was a sight to see.
I wish I could have been there. Yeah, I need to get the schedule. I can't wait until the kids play together in the fall. That's going to be so fun.
I know
It's
it's
going
going
to
to be
be great.
awesome. So
And maybe
I'm
by then
excited.
you'll be running the league. Who knows?
Oh, that's way too much work. I don't have time for that.
All right. Well, in closing, I would like to ask, what would you say to your younger self?
Hmm. What would I say to my younger self? Don't change anything.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. I like that one a lot. Okay. So if someone was thinking about stepping into something that feels a little, I don't know, outside of the norm, or maybe a space where they don't see a lot of women or where they may not feel welcome, what would you tell them?
Just do it. Because even though you feel like you're alone right now, there are so many other women who did exactly what you just did, and you can do it.
That's fabulous. Yep. They crawled and walked so that we could run.
Oh, absolutely.
This has been super cool. And I think that that's what I really like about these conversations, that everyone's path looks different, but there's always something that makes you think of your own, something that you could relate to. And for everyone listening, I hope that you heard something today that stayed with you. And until next time, I'll be right here living on the verge. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.